Hello there. It's good to have you join us on Health Options. Every day, everywhere, consumers reach for self-care products to help them through their common health problems. They do so because it may be easier for them, most cost or time efficient, or they may not feel their situation merits making an appointment with a healthcare professional, or simply may have few or no other options. This edition of Health Options is taking a look at self-medication, defined as the treatment of common health problems with medicines, especially those designed and labeled for use without medical supervision and approved as safe and effective for such use. You will get to know about the real dangers of self-medication as well as understand the different forms of self-medication so you can avoid the risk of adverse reaction. It's Health Options, and you sure have a lot to gain from the topic through the complementary segments talking about Nature's Corner and our health tips. Welcome. I am Rabi, Abdallah. Medicines for self-medication are often called non-prescription or over-the-counter OTC and are available without a doctor's prescription through pharmacies. We fed this report on self-medication put together by Lynn Leneke.
According to medical rules, drugs are supposed to be prescribed by experts before being purchased at pharmacies and chemists. It is also part of the rules that pharmacists and chemists are supposed to demand for prescriptions before selling to intended individuals. One of the reasons for this is to checkmate the abuse of drugs, which is common in the society. This rule, which is strictly observed in developed countries, is said to have saved many lives and promotes good health. However, it is very common to find people administering drugs on themselves, especially when they have mild health conditions without expert's prescription.
I once in a while do that, especially when it's just maybe minor headache that could result from stress.
My daughter was actually having some malaria symptoms, and we bought her malaria drugs and they didn't work. So we went to the hospital to check, and it was not malaria, it was something else.
Sometimes I do. But the thing is, probably, maybe I was sick before, they gave me some drugs, I've become better, then suddenly that sickness came up again. The self-medication is that I go back to that drug I took before without an examination.
But what is the medical doctor's opinion on self-medication?
All drugs are dangerous and can only be used for the indications they are meant for. And usually it's a clinician that would know what drugs suit certain health conditions. So it's always better to get a doctor's prescription. However, if somebody has a headache or a mild ailment, you can use things like paracetamol. For that, it is only when the condition persists. So in that wise, one can self-medicate for minor complaints.
Research shows that self-medication can pose potential risks to patients. These risks include incorrect self-diagnosis, delay in seeking medical advice when needed, to mention but a few.
You may not know the right doses for these drugs. So if you go buy it for yourself, you might get a lower dose, or you might get too high a dose, causing toxicity. If one gets a lower dose, even if it is for the right ailment, but you're not using the proper dosage for it. Let's say, for instance, somebody needs 2 tablets 4 times a day, but the person is only taking 1 tablet twice a day. Now, what it will mean is that it will drive resistance to these drugs.
Administering drugs on self, medical experts say, can also lead to death. What are the right steps to follow when one falls sick? There is no doubt that self-medication is dangerous and must be avoided.
Joining me in the studio to shed more light on the topic is the Chairman, Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, Abuja branch, Sunday Ike. Welcome to Health Options.
Thank you, presenter.
Okay, the focus is self-medication, and we all know that, or it's been said out there that the menace of drug abuse actually begins with self-medication. As an expert, what have you got to say to that?
Well, from the the name is almost self-explanatory, that the medication are used to either cure, treat, or prevent medicines. So by self-medication, we mean an individual behavior where a person decides on his own, without a medical expert's opinion, to use drug for either curative or behavioral change without an expert's opinion.
So what are some of the causative effects of that?
Well,
how dangerous is self-medication?
It is actually very, very dangerous. To start with, the person self-medicating might think he is helping himself or herself. He might think he's saving cost. He might think he doesn't want to waste time in the hospital or at expert's place. But the overall interest, the overall effect is that the person is actually doing more harm to himself than good. If you recall, drugs are meant to solve a problem, and every drug you take is metabolized in the system. And if you notice, when you are advised to take a drug, normally they will tell you to take certain quantity at certain time for certain purposes. So when person, maybe from previous experience, decides to now on his own take the drug, he might not be treating the actual thing. He might be masking the symptom. He might be masking the symptom. Take, for instance, common cold, or somebody has a cough or something. It's a symptom of something. So except the case is properly diagnosed and then adequate treatment given, if the person now go because he has, when he had this experience before, this was what worked for him, it doesn't apply. Because you discover that there could be drug-drug interaction. There are certain drugs, when you are taking it, you are not supposed to take certain type of food. And it's only an expert that will tell you, when you take this drug, do so and so. But when one now on his own decides to take that drug, he might not observe that certain drugs should be taken at a particular time. And when you don't take that drug without expert's opinion, one, you might actually prolong the time of treatment. When you delay so much, it could lead to death. There could be organ damage. There are certain drugs that should not be taken together, but because this person doesn't know, the person is just taking it. And because he worked for Mr. B, does not mean it will work for A. Okay. A drug that one person reacts to, another person might not react to it.
So as experts, a lot depends on you in terms of sensitization now. I know, for instance, I've mentioned it out there, that if one is treating malaria, you're not supposed to take vitamin C-based fruits. But not everybody seems to be aware of that. How do your members inform consumers, for instance, when they go to your pharmacies to purchase these drugs? What sort of questions are you supposed to, ask? Or what sort of enlightenment do you normally give to consumers? Because, for instance, they're already indulging in self-medication, which is not right, and compounding it, with more ignorance on what could happen when you don't give out information. Do you do that?
Okay, that's why we advise people to always patronize the registered premises. When you want to take drug prescribed by a doctor, always ask to see the pharmacist, because the pharmacist is not just there to dispense the drug. The pharmacist is there to direct you, to inform you, to tell you what and what you should take, when to take it, and when not to take it. That's actually the work of the pharmacist. And we, on our own, we do sensitization program through our various zonal forum. We have, apart from the association, we have zones. And the zones from time to time have sensitization program to tell people, for your drug information, consult an expert, who in this case is a pharmacist. So when you go to a pharmacy to buy a product, always request to see the pharmacist. And he owes you as a duty to explain to you what and what you are going to expect when you are taking this drug. Mind you, there are some drugs that you will take, and there will be a reaction. You can take a drug and the color of the urine will change. So you need to advise this patient that this drug you are taking, when you take it, the color of your urine might change. If it changes, don't be worried. Because the overall effect is that the patient should take the drug, the normal quantity. If the such advice is not given and the person takes the drug, the person must stop midway. And if you stop midway, there could be resistance, and the drug will no longer work for the person. So what we do is to advise people to always contact a professional, in this case a pharmacist, who will counsel you, tell you what to take and what to take. Remember you mentioned when you are taking a malaria drug, you're not supposed to take a vitamin C and other plasma expander. Because you want to treat
such as what now? What are those?
Blood tonic.
Okay.
That has a folic acid.
Can you be more elaborate on this? Because we want to use this platform to really talk to viewers who might not have the opportunity of being educated on this when they go out there to purchase drugs. Because self-medication exists, and I know that for developed countries such as the United States of America, the Food and Drug Agency actually approves self-medication, but they back it up with sensitization. But in an environment such as ours, where such does not exist, we want to use this platform for you to talk to people out there. For instance, when someone is treating malaria, what is he not supposed to take with the anti-malaria drug? What sort of medicines should not be combined? Talking about drug reaction now or drug interaction, and not adhering to what the dosage. Can you just talk to viewers on that?
Okay, since malaria is what we have rampant,
endemic, yes.
Endemic in our area.
Yes.
Let's use malaria for example.
Okay.
If you are taking, the federal government has recommended artemisinin combination therapy,
yes,
popularly called the ACT,
yes,
to treat malaria now. So if you are taking a malaria drug, there's a research that when you take the first dose, say artemether-lumefantrine, 8 hours later, you take the second dose. Then the next day, you now take one morning, one evening, which is 12 hourly. If you miss the 8 hourly interval, of the first day, it affects the efficacy of that product. Because, drug has a binding site, for example. And so, it is documented that the parasite itself, within so and so time in the system, this quantity gets to the parasite. You need to bombard it until you clear it. But if you give the parasite enough time to resist, subsequently, the while you are taking, my life become like a food for the parasite. The parasite is already resistant to it. You won't be able to work. Also, there's food-drug interaction. For example, vitamin C that you talked about. When you take a drug, it binds to a receptor. If you take vitamin C, for example, with artemether-lumefantrine, vitamin C might be able to get to the binding site first before the artemether-lumefantrine, rendering it useless. Also, when you take a plasma expander, like I was talking about drugs that helps to build blood volume. You are treating malaria, you want to confine it in an area. If you increase the volume, the site through which the drug has to, just like something is swimming. When you confine it into a place, you get attacked easily. But if you increase the plasma volume, the blood volume, the drug might not be able to reach at a particular point in time. So it's usually better you meet a pharmacist who understands this thing to tell you that you should take this and take it at a particular time. There's actually a reason when they say 12 hourly or when they say 8 hourly. That's a reason for that. I'm still
more particular about this issue of you not taking vitamin C-based fruits when you're treating malaria. I really want you to shed light on that.
Yeah, I just said
what
that,
are those ones?
I just said that.
Because I saw yours revolved around vitamin C as a drug or whatever. I'm talking about food.
If you use food that contains vitamin C,
such as
which most fruits, the apple we eat, the carrot we eat, oranges has, the vitamin C will go and bind at a receptor site that the drug you are taking is going to bind to be able to work. So it displaces that drug from that site, rendering the drug useless. In any case, the real effect of the drug you will not get. That's vitamin C. Well, when I talked about increasing the plasma volume,
that's blood tonic.
Blood tonic.
Yes.
That's why when they give you malaria drug these days, they will advise you to finish the malaria treatment. Then before you start taking your blood tonic.
Okay.
Okay, there are some antibiotics too that interact with malaria drug. Example, the popular one we have is ciprofloxacin. Ciprofloxacin competes for a binding site with the artemether-lumefantrine. So when it's not advisable, in most cases, to take them together. Because if you take them together, it's not as if you won't get effect, but you will not get the maximum effect that the drug should give you. And therefore, you are wasting resources. You say you will be complaining of treatment failure. Meanwhile, it's not as if artemether-lumefantrine is not working. but you've taken other things that hinders the drug from working optimally.
Would you say there are benefits of self-medication?
Benefits? Well, to the person taking it, he might think it's saving time, but medically there's no benefit. Because when you think you are saving time, you are masking the symptoms of the sickness. If what you are treating is not what you're supposed to treat, you are prolonging the danger there. And it could become critical in the emergency situation, and you will now spend more. So you think you are saving cost, but in the long run, you are incurring more. Two, many people, when you give them drug and you say they should take it maybe 12 hourly and for 5 days, they will take the drug the first day and the symptoms disappears. They stop. They will keep that drug. Maybe when their friend has similar symptoms, they will give the friend to take. That person that took half dose or underdose has done more damage to himself or herself, because you already suppressed the symptoms. You've not cured whatever it is that is causing that. Next time when you need that drug, it might be resistant. That's why in Nigeria now, we are having antibacterial resistance, and it's a problem. If you recall, in management of HIV, they are strict about, if you are taking it 8 o'clock in the evening, it must be 8 o'clock in the evening.
That's strict adherence.
That's very strict adherence.
Yes.
And you know, in Nigeria, because we know that one, if there's a failure, is more difficult to manage. So everybody is saying that. But overall, it's supposed to be with every drug. Every drug should be protected. And you know where we are coming from, talking of malaria now, before everybody was using chloroquine. And people abuse chloroquine, use chloroquine until the parasite become resistant to chloroquine. And then we move to ACT. And now, if for any reason we make the parasite resistant to ACT, it becomes very, very dangerous for us.
That's through our own behavior.
Through our behavior. That's why everybody should join hands. Just like I say, I appreciate your program and I thank you for what you're doing. That everybody should join hands to make sure that we protect the ACT. And that's why now they even say test before treatment. Yes. You don't just walk in and say, I have symptoms of malaria, you buy malaria drug and you take. No. You test to be sure you have malaria. And when you have malaria, then an adequate ACT should be given to you. And you should take it as recommended. On a final note now, just sound that advice as an expert to viewers out there where self-medication is concerned. Okay, our viewers, I want to advise us that, one, to protect yourself and to protect Nigerians. Please always adhere to professional advice. And always make sure that you take your drugs the way you are told to take the drugs. Don't take in between and stop. Because one, you are doing harm to yourself and you are doing harm to the society. People indulge in self-medication where other ailments are concerned. So just let them know that it's not, it's dangerous, it shouldn't be. And okay, self-medication, every drug you take is metabolized in your system. If you don't need drug, don't take it. When you hear of organ damage, kidney problem, liver failure, every organ damage, it might be as a result of what we have caused ourselves. When you don't need drug, don't take it. And if you must take drug, seek an advice from a professional, from an expert. Okay, thank you so much, Sunday Ike, for coming on Health Options. Thank you, ma. All right. It's all about responsible use of medicine, and from the orthodox we move to the traditional, talking about herbal medicine and self-medication as we take you to our nature's corner.
Generally, many people think that there is nothing wrong in taking herbal medicines because the general belief out there is you think that herbal medicines are food and therefore it will cause no problem. No, that's a very wrong notion. Herbal medicines are medicines. Medicine is medicine. So once medicinal plants, once our plants have been taken into the laboratory and have been investigated for the roles, for the different diseases they cure or they treat, they have now, and they have been put together in a form that can be used by human beings or animals. They have now become medicines, and you are no longer supposed to take those medications, those medicines that we call herbal medicines, without first seeing a qualified person or a specialist, because if you do, you will be engaging in self-medication, and it can be fatal. It can result in loss of sight. It can result in loss of different organs of the body, kidney problems, liver problems, lung collapse, and lung problems. A lot of people have asked this question, that is it good to consume ginger or garlic or some of these medicinal plants raw or cooked? Some plants, some of our medicinal plants are very useful when you consume them raw. Some when boiled. Some when cooked very well. Now, it depends on the type of medicinal plant, and that is why expert knowledge is very, very important before you embark on any of this mission. I call it mission, because it can be mission for survival, it can be mission for disappearance from the surface of the earth. So, if, for example, ginger and garlic belong to the group of plants that we say have volatile, essential components, ingredients. Now, the essential oil or ingredient in this medicinal plant is it disappears with increase in temperature. You know, as the temperature is increased, that is why when you squeeze or you grind these two, for example, these two medicinal plants, you get a sweet smelling environment where you are grinding it. That tells you that what is coming out of it can actually volatilize. We call it is volatile. Therefore, if you boil it, if you subject it to too much cooking, you destroy what is important for the human system in it. So we advise people not to subject these medicinal plants like this to too much heat. In fact, in the laboratory, when we do extraction, we ensure that we don't subject these plants to too much heat. In our environment today, in our country today, we have scientists that are specialized in these areas. In this area, for example, at the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, this is our core area. Core mandate and core area of it. You need to consult these people if you are going to take any of these herbal medicines that is in our environment today. That is why the NAFDAC does not register any herbal medicine without studies conducted by academic institutions like NIPRID to show that these medicinal plants are safe, because as they are good in treating diseases, so they are also good in destroying life. A lot of us have spent our life getting this training, and we are available for people to get free, advice and consultation in this area, hoping that in the nearest future, our country will develop to the point at which there will be integration of herbal medicine with our orthodox medicine.
If you have experienced a symptom, for example, fever, skin rash, insomnia, vomiting, dizziness, nausea, headache, sinus pressure for up to 3 days, you must see your doctor immediately rather than indulging in self-medication. Letting symptoms go unchecked could increase your risk of developing serious complications. The effects of self-medication can be harmful and potentially life-threatening. That wraps up Health Options for this week. You can go to our YouTube channel to watch the upload of these and other episodes. Email us for your comments and contributions at healthoptions@nta.gov.ng. Thanks for watching. I am Rabi, Abdallah.